Caitanya, chapter 7. Today is text 3. And of course, usually on the last day of our festival, we devote a lot of time to questions. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
Purve Gurvari Choi Tattva Kaila Namaskar. Guru Tattva Kai Achi Eve Pancha Vichar. Purve Gurvari Choi Tattva Kaila Namaskar. Guru Tattva Kahiyachi Ebe Pancha Vichar. Purve Gurvari Choi Tattva Kaila Namaskar. Guru Tattva Kahiyachi Ebe Pancha Vichar. In the beginning, Guru Adi, the spiritual master and others. Jaya, 6. Tattve, in the subjects of. Kaila, I have done. Namaskar, obeisances. Guru Tattva, the truth and understanding the spiritual master. Kohiyachi, I have already described. Ebe, now. Panchera, of the 5. Vichara, consideration. Translation. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now, I shall try to explain the Pancha-tattva. Purport. In the first chapter of the Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, the author, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, has described the initiator spiritual master and the instructor spiritual master in the verse beginning with the words, Vande Gurur Isha Bhaktan, Isham Isha Vatarakan. In that verse, there are 6 transcendental subject matters, of which the truth regarding the spiritual master has already been described. Now the author will describe the other 5 tattvas, truths, namely Pancha-tattva, the Supreme Lord, his expansion tattva, his incarnation tattva, his energy tattva, and his devotee tattva. Translation again. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now I shall try to explain the Pancha-tattva. Om Megana Chimanandasya Gyananjanasya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastava Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as you just heard, Caitanya Charitamrita begins in the first chapter of Adi Lila, discussing the 6 tattvas, the Pancha-tattva and the spiritual master. To understand Lord Gauranga means to understand his associates. Just as Krishna is never alone, similarly Lord Caitanya is never alone. Krishna is always with his eternal associates. And Lord Caitanya is also always with his eternal associates. And as you know, both Lord Caitanya and Krishna are Swayam Bhagavan, the original personality of Godhead. We've explained several times, but the truth is so deep that repetition of it is not a fault. When Krishna wants to taste love of himself and separation, he is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to be the supreme enjoyer, he's Krishna. The whole Pancha-tattva is a challenge to monism. The Lord appears with his associates, the Pancha-tattva, to taste the varieties of spiritual life. So you have Nityananda, who is Prakash-tattva, the expansion of Lord Caitanya, the first expansion. You have Advaitacharya, Avatar-tattva. He's Mahavishnu, generally speaking. And then you have Gadadhar Pandit. He's Shakti-tattva. He's the internal potency. And then Srivas. We were discussing pastimes of Srivas yesterday. He's Bhakta-tattva. He's demonstrating the Shuddha Bhakta, the pure devotee. So with all these different aspects, transcendental variety is tasted. You cannot restrict the Supreme Personality of Godhead to just some monistic concoction. So as we discussed the other day, the impersonalists say everything is one, and Krishna says, all right, I'll come as 5. So the more you understand the Pancha-tattva, the more you'll understand transcendental variegatedness. How, the question you should ask yourself is, how can there be ultimate love? How can there be love in the highest sense, in the purest sense, without variegatedness? Variegatedness means spiritual planets, spiritual activities, spiritual qualities. Where do you get that kind of information? So as we read in the introduction to Caitanya Charitamrita, throughout the world's religions, there are hints of love of Krishna. But only in Bhagavatam, Caitanya Charitamrita, is the full science of love of the Supreme presented, the love supreme. A hint is better than nothing, but we want as much as possible to understand the supreme science, because then our love can increase. Kaviraj Goswami says, now I shall try to explain the Pancha-tattva. What does he mean by that? Try. Why don't you just do it? He's letting you know that the subject matter is unlimited. So sometimes the example is given in Caitanya Charitamrita of a dwarf trying to touch the moon. Even Caitanya Mahaprabhu himself, in explaining the spiritual realities and the material realities also, to Sanatana Goswami, in the Sanatana Siksha, the section of Caitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya instructs Sanatana Goswami, he says, I'm just going to give you a drop of the ocean. It's not possible to describe the whole expanse of the ocean of spiritual reality. Krishna is unlimited. His associates are unlimited. Love of Krishna is unlimited. Remember, in Caitanya Charitamrita, Vasudeva Dutt, the unfathomably compassionate devotee of Lord Chaitanya, prayed to Lord Chaitanya, appealed to Lord Chaitanya, let me take all the bad karma, all the sinful reactions of the whole universe upon me, and let everyone go back to Godhead. I'll stay with all the reactions of all the living entities in the universe. Such a astonishing declaration. We're trying to purify ourselves of the sinful reactions of just one person, ourselves. But to take on the simple reactions of all of the entities in the universe? But this is Vasudeva Dutt. Therefore, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saying, such a demonstration by Vasudeva Dutt is more merciful than any savior known in the world. But what was Lord Chaitanya's response? He told Vasudeva Dutt, you don't have to take upon yourself all the reactions of every living entity in the universe. By my desire, simply by my desire, they can all be freed from material bondage. But let me explain to you something, Lord Chaitanya said. This universe is just like one mustard seed in a bag of mustard seeds. How many of you have seen a mustard seed before? Very small, yes? This universe is like one mustard seed in a whole bag of mustard seeds. Sunny Westbrook, will you sell bags of mustard seeds? What's the biggest size? 20 kilos. 25 kilos. So if one mustard seed falls out, you have a nervous breakdown. But that's the example that Mahaprabhu gave to Vasudeva Dutt. You have a huge bag of mustard seeds and one falls out. What is it to you? It's so insignificant. You don't even worry about it. You don't even notice it. You don't. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya explained that there are countless material universes with countless planets. Now, why don't we see all that? Because we're conditioned by our senses. Anytime you take a material body, that body comes with senses. And those senses only have a limited range of perception. You all know the standard examples, how dogs can hear sounds you can't hear. Cats, especially at night, can see things you don't see. So similarly, we don't see past our little niche in this tiny universe. But there are countless planets, not unlimited, but they're said to be unlimited because you'll never be able to count them all. But everything material is finite, is limited. But there are so many universes. Just because your sense perception doesn't pick them up, doesn't detect them, that doesn't mean there are not countless universes. The only way you'll understand is by hearing. Just like if I want to understand some town or city in the world, which I've never been to. There are not many of those. Who is it telling me? Grace was telling me she's from Minneapolis. I haven't been there since 1974. So how would I know what's going on there unless I hear from someone? I can't see Minneapolis from here. I have to hear about it. Someone has to give me some presentation, multimedia, video game, something. I'm dependent on hearing from authoritative sources. So if she's an authority on Minneapolis, she'll explain to me. I just remember, there's lots of mosquitoes there. It's still the case, huh?
That's true.
Okay, see? She has verified. I'm speaking authorized knowledge. This is a bra. Our knowledge is based on authoritative knowledge. There's no way around that. Authoritative knowledge means hearing from authoritative persons. And Krishna is the most authoritative person. So Lord Caitanya explained to Vasudeva that, so what if the whole universe becomes liberated? It's nothing. There are countless universes. So similarly, Kaviraj Goswami is saying, I'm going to try to explain the Pancha-tattva. And in the next verse, he begins. These 5 tattvas incarnate with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord executes his Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. And he wants you to participate in the Sankirtan movement with great pleasure. So because Krishna is unlimited, the glories of the Pancha-tattva are unlimited, we can glorify Krishna, we can glorify Lord Chaitanya 24 hours, 7 days a week. So this festival is meant to give you a taste of constant glorification of Krishna, discussion of Krishna's service. The reality is you can do this 365 days a year. But of course, you have to maintain your bodies, maintain your homes. But still, you should understand, it is possible to simply glorify Krishna 24/7, 365 days a year, and never get to the end of Krishna's glories. So everyone needs that experience, and that's what these festivals are meant to give you a glimpse of. Who is it who is telling me? Mukunda Mukha. Is he here? He was telling me about what it's like arriving at the festival. He said, as soon as you cross that bridge, you enter into another world. We appreciate his vision. What's that other world? As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there's another world, transcendental to this world of manifest and unmanifest material energy. When all of this world is annihilated, when all of this material world is annihilated, the spiritual world remains. The spiritual reality remains. So Krishna is unlimited, Lord Chaitanya is unlimited, the Pancha-tattva are unlimited, their glories are unlimited. So we can talk about Krishna unlimitedly. I know you all wish you could take prasad unlimitedly. This is why Rupa Goswami says, when I chant Hare Krishna, he says, one tongue is not enough, I need millions of tongues. When I hear the Hare Krishna mantra, these ears are not enough, I need millions of ears. That's chanting on the liberated, completely pure platform. This is what we're aspiring for. So witnessing the devotees chanting and dancing exuberantly, that's a vision of the spiritual world. As long as they keep up that process, their stay in the material world is finished. In spite of your living in a soul-killing civilization, you can make the best of a bad situation by using this short human form of life to deepen your attachment for Krishna. And as a result, Krishna promises you, you won't take another material body. So we've already talked about future-proofing, how everyone is futuristic whether they admit it or not. They'll say to you, what does this talk about the next life? What is your next body going to be? Who knows? Just be comfortable now. Entertain yourself now. Have a good time now. And as we discussed, if someone has a 5-year plan, in 5 years I want to be doing this, I want to own some investment properties, I want to finish at the uni, I want to marry and have children, that's my 5-year plan. People say, wow, that's very deep thinking. How impressive, how expert you are. This is predicted in the 12th canto of Bhagavatam. Daksham Katumba Bharanam. If a man can maintain a tiny family, a wife and 1 or 2 children, he's considered supremely expert. Daksham Katumba Bharanam. You read in Bhagavatam about these huge dynasties. But in the age of darkness, in the age of Kali, if someone can just maintain a small household, everyone's in awe. How do you do it? So what is wrong with future-proofing your life, being futuristic about how to get the best now and later? Because what is afflicting us right now? What is your solution to that? The threefold miseries. Miseries from your own body and mind. Miseries from other living entities, even entities you can't see. And miseries from material nature. What's your solution to those immediate miseries? And then there are the ultimate miseries. Birth, death, disease, and old age. What's your solution to that? But you live in a so-called civilization that distracts you. It's like Chandidas Prabhu was giving his talk yesterday on video games and how they're designed to addict you. I was shocked to realize that as many women play it as men, almost as many women. I thought it was just a guy's thing. Of course, this is New Zealand and we know the mantra here. Whatever a man can do, a woman can do. So many ways to waste your time are invented in the name of progress. How many of you remember life before the internet? Were you still alive then? Were you able to function? But now it seems like impossible. Just last Sunday, there was a huge internet outage in West Auckland for 24 hours. I tried to get online, I couldn't get online. What's going on? I contacted Chandidas, he looked online and found there's a huge outage in West Auckland. It's like, what is this? No internet. How can we live? How many of you remember before there were mobile phones? Still life went on, yes? Business went on, yes? But we think, oh, there's been so much progress. Meanwhile, people's mental health is deteriorating like never before. All while progress is happening. And in this kind of social climate, if you present to someone, what about your next body? What about your next life? What kind of strange conceptions are these? But they are futuristic. That's why they go to the uni. I want to get the best job. I need to go to the uni. Or I need to go to something, be something to make the money. I want to travel overseas. I want to dream. As a young person, you can dream. One day you'll be able to buy a house. Don't hold your breath. You're futuristic. So why not be futuristic about taking what Krishna says, which is best for now and in the future? So by these festivals, you can taste that bhakti is the best thing for now, as well as the future. When you're tasting prasad, when you're chanting and dancing, when you're hearing about Krishna from Bhagavatam, Caitanya, Charitamrita, that's the best thing for now. So when someone asks you, you should just be in the now. Hare Krishna. And it's the best thing for your future. So Kaviraj Goswami is saying he's going to try to explain the Pancha-tattva because their glories are unlimited. We spoke yesterday about Srivas and his house, the kirtans that went on in his house. The spot is there, you can see it in Mayapur. How many have been to Srivas Angan in Mayapur? That's the spot. When you walk on that road, you should know this is the road Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates tread. So those nighttime kirtans at the house of Srivas were inconceivable. Mahaprabhu is dancing in ecstasy, pure love of Krishna. So we spoke about how Srivas Thakur's son died in the middle of the night, but he wouldn't allow anyone to lament or moan or cry because he didn't want Lord Chaitanya's ecstatic dancing and internal consciousness to be disturbed so that Mahaprabhu would come to external consciousness. We got into that yesterday. We won't repeat the whole pastime today. But one thing we didn't mention, because you might be thinking, especially mothers might be thinking, but Srivas's son, his only son is gone. All right, the mother and the other ladies check their grief, their lamentation, but the son is gone. So remember how Lord Chaitanya, hearing about the incident of how Srivas wouldn't allow the kirtan to be disturbed. He withheld information about the death of his son. When Lord Caitanya heard that, after the kirtan was over, 7.5 hours later when dawn was coming, Lord Caitanya started crying. Like, what kind of bhakti is this? This is so overwhelming. I'm purchased by this kind of love. And as we pointed out yesterday, Lord Caitanya was, in his crying, appreciating the dedication, the bhakti of Srivas Thakur. He said, how can I leave such devotees? How can I renounce such devotees? And the devotees were all, what's he talking about? Leaving? Renouncing? Lord Caitanya is hinting that he'll take sannyas and leave Navadvipa. So you might be thinking, Srivas is now sonless, his wife is sonless. Lord Caitanya told him, from now on, you can consider that Nityananda and I are your sons. Kaviraj Goswami is saying, in the beginning I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Spiritual master simply says what Krishna says. And it's the disciples' duty to ask questions about what will accelerate spiritual life and what will impede spiritual life. So therefore, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we're working hard on this at the BBT, producing an exquisite standard of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 5 volumes of 800 pages each. Commentaries by Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and of course, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Jiva Goswami. You see, Nectar of Devotion is a capsulization, a very short summary of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Srila Prabhupada started the whole work, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, but didn't finish it. So it is one of the foundations of Bhakti, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the ocean of Bhakti Rasa, nectarian Bhakti Rasa. So we're working hard to present the top quality rendition for those of you who relish reading the Shastra. If you're not a Shastra connoisseur, all right, just chant and dance, take prasad. You're already, as we explained, you're already at the conclusion of the Vedas. But nevertheless, we need some persons who understand the science of bhakti and can communicate it to others. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says, Adal Gurvashrayam. In the beginning, you approach a guru. That's the beginning of your spiritual life. And what do? Sat Dharma Prachat. You inquire. So Kaviraj Goswami is in Adilila chapter 1. He talks about the initiator, spiritual master, and the instructor, spiritual master. As Prabhupada mentioned several times in his books, generally the one who gives the siksha, the instruction, gives the diksha, generally. But there are situations that happen. People, devotees, never see their spiritual master. He's on the other side of the world. Spiritual master is departed. So, in those situations, they approach someone else, give instruction, even though they have diksha. But as Prabhupada writes, and his system that he put forward right before his departure was, find someone nearby. Understanding that if someone is nearby, they can give the siksha and the diksha together. That's the ideal system. It doesn't happen ideally everywhere in the world. So in the spirit of inquiring, we now open up for questions. And remember, mainly questions are about how to apply bhakti, how to avoid impediments, and how to accelerate spiritual progress.